Welcome back to my channel Kishore Sir Ki Pathshala. We are doing chapter Chemical Reaction and Equation, that is chapter number 1 for 10 Cbse. So we have seen how to balance a chemical equation. So it's very important part to balance a chemical equation. We need to balance all the chemical equations very properly. So today also we are going to see few of the more examples of how to balance a given chemical equations. Let's take few more examples for balancing a chemical equation. Let us take example of lead oxide reacts with carbon to give lead and carbon dioxide. So first of all, we need to write down the elements. What are the elements present? It's lead, then we have oxygen, and we have carbon, right? So lead, how many atoms of lead are there on the left hand side? It's 1. Right hand side it's 1. Oxygen, how many? It's 1 here and 2 on the right side. Carbon, it's 1 and 1 on the right hand side. Okay, so now you'll see that only oxygen is there, where you'll see that left hand side it's 1 and right hand side it's 2. So what we need to do? So we need to multiply on the left hand side by 2 here. So I'll put 2 here. Alright. So what has happened? When I put 2 here, lead has also become 2. So lead has become 2. Okay. Then what I need to do on right hand side, lead is now only 1 as compared to 2 on the left hand side. So I need to put 2 here in front of lead. So this becomes 2. Right. Now you can see that on the left hand side and the right hand side, the number of atoms for an element is balanced. Right. So if you see this chemical equation is a balance equation now. Let us take another example of aluminium reacting with copper chloride to give aluminium chloride and copper. So what we need to write down? We need to write down the elements. Element is aluminium, then we have copper and we have chlorine. So 3 elements are there. So we have written left hand side aluminium is 1 atom, right hand side it is 1 atom. Copper, see here 1 on the left hand side, right hand side it is 1. Chlorine, left hand side it is 2, right hand side it is 3. So what we see here, only chlorine is unbalanced. Alright. So what I can do here, I can multiply this 2 by 3 to get 6. Alright. Okay. So I will multiply this by 3. So I'm getting 6 here. Okay. So what I will do here, the same thing I'll multiply here by 2. Okay. So right hand side I'll multiply by 2. See here I'll multiply this by 2 to get 6 here. Okay. So what I see for chlorine is balanced. The moment I put 3 in front of chlorine, so this 3 applies for both. Right. So copper has become 3 now. So copper has become 3 now. Right. Okay. So what I need to do on the right hand side, I need to multiply this 1 into 3. So here it becomes 3 here. Okay. Now let's comes to aluminium. Aluminium now here if you see in right hand side it is 2. So what I need to do, I need to put 2 in front of aluminium here. Right. Here I put this aluminium. Okay. Now you will see that the equation, the chemical equation now is balanced. Let us take another example for balancing a chemical equation. Barium chloride reacts with sulfuric acid to give barium sulfate plus hydrogen chloride. So now let us write down the elements. Elements are barium, then chlorine, then hydrogen, then we have sulfur and oxygen. So barium is how much? It's 1 on left hand side, right hand side is also 1. Chlorine, it's 2 on left hand side and right hand side is 1. Hydrogen, it's 2 on left hand side, it's 1 on right hand side. Sulfur, it's 1 on left hand side and 1 on right hand side. Oxygen, it's 4 on left hand side and 4 on right hand side. So here you will see that chlorine is 2 on left hand side and it's 1 on right hand side. So let us first balance this chlorine. So what I will do, I will multiply this 1 into 2. I will put here 2 and so my chlorine becomes 2. So chlorine is balanced. The moment I balance chlorine, this 2 applies for both. So what has become? The hydrogen has become 2. Okay, so the hydrogen has become 2 here. Right. Now you will see that barium is 1 on each side, chlorine is 2 on each side, hydrogen 2 on left hand side, right hand side, sulfur 1 each, oxygen 4 each. So now the equation, the chemical equation is balanced. C6H12O6 plus oxygen, which gives me carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Now let us write down the elements: carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Only 3 elements are present on left hand side and right hand side. Let us write down the numbers. Carbon is 6. Here you will see 6 and on right hand side it's 1. Hydrogen you will see it is 12 on left hand side and 2 on right hand side. Oxygen 6 plus 2 8 on left hand side, right hand side it is 3. Now let's start the balancing. Carbon is 6 here on left hand side. So what I will do, I will put 6 here on right hand side. So my carbon becomes 6. The moment I put 6 here, then what happens? My oxygen, it changes. 6 to the 12, 13. Right. So I will not touch here right now. What I will do, I will go to hydrogen. Right. So what I will do here, hydrogen is 2 here, 2 here on right hand side. On left hand side, hydrogen is 12. So if I multiply this 2 by 6, I will get what? 12. So I will put here 6. I will get 12. See, I got 12. Right. Now let me see the oxygen. Oxygen is how much? Here you see it applies for both. So 6 to the 12. 12 plus 6. This is 18. So my oxygen on right hand side is 18. Right. Okay. So let's see. I want to make 18 here. So what I will do, I will multiply here by 6. So 6 to the 12. 12 plus 6, 18. Right. So here also I have got 18. So now the equation is a balanced chemical equation. Let's take one more example of balancing a given chemical equation. Let us take barium chloride reacts with aluminium sulfate to give barium sulfate plus aluminium chloride. Let us write down the elements. The elements are barium, chlorine, aluminium, sulfur, and oxygen. Let us write down the number of atoms for barium. On left hand side it's 1, right hand side it's 1. Chlorine, left hand side it's 2, right hand side it's 3. Aluminium, left hand side it's 2, right hand side it's 1. Sulfur, here you'll see that the bracket is there, and if you open the bracket, sulfur will be 3. And here sulfur is 1. This 4 applies only for oxygen, not for the sulfur. So it's 1. Oxygen here is 4 3s are 12, and here it is 4. So we have written LHS and RHS. Now let's try to balance the given chemical equation. Now if you see here, 2 is there. If I multiply this 2 by 3, I get 6. And this 3 by 2, what I get? I get 6. So I will multiply here by 3 to get what? To get 6 here. Right? Okay. To get 6 here. The moment I do so, what I see is this 3 applies for both. So barium also becomes 3. Right. Now let's come on right hand side. Here it is 3. So 3 2 side will be 6. So what I need to do, in front of aluminium chloride, I need to put 2. I put 2 here, and chlorine, what I get is as 6. If I put here, this 2 applies for both. Now aluminium becomes 2. Now what I need to do, I need to come back for barium. Okay, barium, here it is 3, here it is 1. So what I need to do, I need to put 3 in front of barium on right hand side. So what I get here? I get here 3. The moment I put 3 here, this 3 applies for all. Here you see. So my sulfur becomes 3, and oxygen, it is 4 3s are 12. So oxygen becomes 12. So here if you see that all the atoms of an element are balanced. So it's a very simple way we can balance a given chemical equation. Let us take another example for balancing a given chemical equation. Let us take barium chloride reacts with sodium sulfate to give barium sulfate and sodium chloride. So let's write down the elements. Barium is there, then we have chlorine, then you have sodium, you have sulfur, and you have oxygen, right? So let's write down the number of atoms on the left hand side and right hand side. Barium is 1 each on left hand side and right hand side. Chlorine is 2 on left hand side and 1 on right hand side. Sodium is 2 on left hand side, 1 on right hand side. Sulfur is 1 on both the sides. Oxygen is 4 on both the sides. So now you see that chlorine is 2 on left hand side and right hand side it's 1. So I need to multiply this by 2. So I will put here 2, right? So the moment I put 2, this 2 applies for both. So sodium also becomes 2. Now if you see here on the left hand side and right hand side, for each elements, you will see that they are all balanced, right? So we can now say that the equation is a balanced chemical equation.